When I first looked at this article, it really, how can I say this? It really showed that the ambition that China had. The good thing is that, more news came out, and now that China has been testing its digital currency, they have really shown their hand. And it really proves once and for all to everybody around the world that cryptocurrencies can not only be manipulated, but they can also be trackable down to the, to the second. China is able to track everybody real time, even more efficiently now with the cryptocurrency that they made, their money with. So I do think that at one point the cryptocurrencies are going to be either banned or they're going to be sucked into the system because they're very trackable. It doesn't take very much for the U.S. government to just pass a law where they say that cryptocurrencies are now, banned. The reason we're not at the point yet is because the dollar has not collapsed, or at least it's not threatening to that level yet. China is, though. And this article that I'm going to be sharing with you from Zero Hedge really points that out. And the title is China preparing a gold-backed yuan? Beijing greenlights purchases of billions in bullion. Again, that's from Zero Hedge. In 2018, the Chinese launched a gold-backed yuan-denominated oil futures contract. These contracts were priced in yuan, but convertible to gold, raising the prospects that the rise of the petro-yuan could be the death blow for the dollar. 2 weeks ago, the IMF reported that the global share of US dollar-denominated exchange reserves dropped to 59% in the fourth quarter, according to the IMF's coffer data released today. This matched the 25-year low of 1995. And just last week, China became the first major economy to unleash a central bank digital currency, cementing its trailblazer status in virtual currencies far ahead of other countries, after already recently experimenting with large-scale trials of an actual payment by consumers, which was met with mixed results. All of which sets the stage for the dramatic headlines that hit this morning as Reuters reports that China has given domestic and international banks permission to import large amounts of gold into the country. Is this just the next stage of China seeing the writing on the wall for the US dollar as global reserve currency and paving the way for gold-backed yuan? As Alasdair MacLeod wrote last year, China can escape the fate of the dollar collapse by tying the yuan to gold. All of the major economies, China is best placed to implement a sound money solution. Simply what that is saying is that China is preparing itself to be in the position where the US dollar collapses and everybody's trying to look for a place to go to put their money. They're going to come to China. And they're going to make it, appeal to everybody or appealing to everybody by backing it with gold, because gold is a real asset. It's something tangible that you can have in your hands. So people are going to want that. They want to have the store of value there. What they're going to forget is that China can just very simply confiscate whatever they want. But the point is that they're going to be looking and they're going to find it. And again, that's where I get my thinking that once that happens and everybody abandons the dollars and all those dollars come rushing right back into the economy of the United States, that's what's going to make the hyperinflation even worse. We're going to look worse than Germany. We're going to look worse than Venezuela and other places. So one of the things that we really have to understand is why China is doing this. And yes, of course, they have the ambition of being the superpower of the world. But if it wasn't because of the United States, they would have never been able to take that step. And there's other things that we have done that I'm going to be reading this next article that really push Russia, China, and other countries to just pretty much give us the middle finger and walk away from us. Russia is just getting ready right now to be cut off from the SWIFT system. And that is one of the most powerful weapons that we have, because if we don't let them in the system, they cannot transact their transactions. To be in that position would be a death blow to your economy. But now Russia has, taken the back roads to where if that does happen, it's not going to affect them, because they have the relationship with China and other countries in the EU and other countries in Africa and other countries around the world where they don't have to use the US dollar as the means of exchange. Yes, the United States can threaten those other countries that if they don't do what they say, they're also going to get sanctioned. But when you really think about it, if they get pushed to that direction, they're only going to send them to the arms of China and Russia. So the United States would really have to think about the strategic, purpose in all of this. If they're really going to keep using the SWIFT system as a club to beat people in the head over with. Now, the second part of that article that I first read to you earlier, which is from tomlongo.me, the title again is From the Notebook, the Yuan, the Digital Yuan, Proof of Guns, and the Expiration of Money. The article says, there are pluses and minuses to everything about the digital yuan. From China's perspective, it gives them a currency which can easily bypass the U.S. control over the flow of U.S. dollars, while giving China much more control over capital inflows into the country and the terms under which it can come in. With tensions rising between the U.S. and the Russia-China-Iran axis, all three of these states are making profound moves to insulate themselves from aggressive dollar diplomacy. Today's announcements of new sweeping sanctions against Russia not just targeting diplomats and members of the government, but limiting access to Russia's sovereign debt greatly accelerates these tensions. Russia, for her part, has already announced plans to ban MasterCard and Visa from use there. They, like China, already have a homegrown analog to the U.S.-controlled SWIFT system for international payments and are as well exploring the development of a digital ruble. So everybody's taking the steps to pretty much abandon the U.S. dollar. Once the major countries no longer pretty much give money to the stock market here, and they make the Chinese stock market grow probably more than it has here, that's going to be a death blow to the United States. The reason is because companies spend a lot of money, countries spend a lot of money in the stock market here. And the companies that do that domestically, they get a lot of money in return, right? Which, of course, that helps them fund their businesses, and that helps pay their workers. If the U.S. stock market was to suddenly disappear, there would be billions and maybe even trillions of dollars disappear, and that would make companies disappear, the ones that would not be able to take that blow. It would certainly make a lot of people unemployed, and that would just devastate the economy to where it could trigger the event to where everything collapses. So the U.S. is pretty much beating the crap out of everybody to the point where nobody wants to be around anymore. And now these countries, the major countries, have created their systems to where if other countries do sign up to them, then it's going to be a lot easier for them to work with if the United States tries to sanction them as well. We saw the same thing with Venezuela and Iran. Venezuela and Iran are two countries that are sanctioned by the U.S. And, they took that to be their strength. They said, okay, with both sanctioned, it's not going to work, so let's work together. And they came up with a plan, right? Venezuela was going to send them all this oil to Iran. They were going to refine it, send it back, and, with a bunch of other things. And that helped the Venezuelan economy. It's not good, it's still hyperinflated. You still have to work a whole month for a carton of eggs. But what I'm saying is that the relationship became a reality. Something that the U.S. could not stop. Even though they try to send ships to blockade, Russia and China got involved, and the U.S. backed off. So it does work. Having other countries back you is going to help you in the long run if you're on the other side of the SWIFT system. So all of that eventually is going to go away. And we have to prepare for the day that happens. So that is the reason why I give you the emphasis. I'm not telling you all of this is going to happen tomorrow. I'm not saying that the inflation is going to get so bad that it's going to hurt everybody's pocket next week. What I'm saying is that eventually it's going to happen, and you have to count each and every day, and you have to use it towards your preparedness. All right. So that's what we're doing here in this community of preppers. That's what we're doing in this local community, to where we're setting ourselves up to help other people once this happens and they don't know what to do.
The Man-Made Survival Show.